Got a bit of a story to tell, but you don't have time for all of it. Last week was crazy. I tell you what, between a blizzard, spring break travel, and some pretty silly things going on at the airports these days. Yeah, I was basically in lockdown. Probably the wrong word, but I couldn't go anywhere for 2 days. Yeah, it's good to be home. It's good. Flight delays, flight cancellations. Um, for those of you out there that like have regular 9 to 5s that drive their car to a parking lot and get out of that car and walk to an office and long for, oh, it'd be great to hop in planes and just fly across the country. Um, planes are gross. I'm just being honest. Planes are kind of gross. I'm a Delta snob, but travel. We're not talking about travel here today, but I just want to just give you some good perspective that um, driving to work isn't a bad thing. It really isn't. It's a bit more predictable. Here's the thing. Um, yeah, Miss Becky and I, we spend a lot of time faking like we're these contractors and we're building a bit of a cabin right now, but we just love taking ugly things and making them less ugly. I'm not going to say beautiful. Her work is beautiful, but mine is a work in progress, definitely. But yeah, tools have become a big thing in our world. Don't ask Miss Becky what I gave her for our 25th wedding anniversary, which wasn't recently. Yeah, I think we're celebrating 34 now. It's getting up there, but 25 got her a present. It had diamonds in it, promise. Um, yeah, I'll let her tell you about it. Anyways, I own more Milwaukee tools than any non-contractor has any business owning. Honestly, I'm a Delta snob, but I'm also kind of a Milwaukee uh, snob. I've got a drill. I've got a hammer drill. I've got a circular saw. Just got this chainsaw thing. These drill bits. More than I can probably name, actually. I'm an organizational researcher who studies leadership for a living, and I have literally become, without asking me to, an unpaid marketing department for a power tool brand. Uh huh. Here's the thing, because the answer isn't about tools, it's about why some leaders build institutions people can't stop talking about, and why most haven't figured that out. It's a desire. I hear it all the time sitting in the conference rooms. I'm not sure what our brand is to our community. Well, if you're not quite sure, then you are sure, right? You're allowed to feel a little bit uncomfortable right now, but I promise you, stay with me. This is one of the best lives I think that we've got material for. I hope I can generate even better in the weeks to come, but this is a good one. I think every superintendent, every president I work with has they've walked out of good meeting thinking nobody here is actually on fire for what we're building. That was me. That for a moment in time going, am I the only person that really cares about this thing called our mission? Right? And it gets a little bit lonely out there, doesn't it? That loneliness is real, and it's not a people problem. I would say it's more of an architectural, a structural problem for you and your people. So there's some good perspective. I think when your cabinet kind of performs just that alignment stuff, scoping and sequencing, instead of building that shared, I'm going to call it conviction. If this were Sesame Street, the word for the day is conviction. Yeah. I think your VPs feel it. Your principals feel it. Your teachers feel it, and your students should. They're experiencing that downstream cost of adults who are professionally cooperative, but privately probably kind of unconvinced, if I can put it that way. So in the next few minutes, I want to just give you a bit of a framework that has really helped me help others work through kind of that brand strategy thing. Yeah, and this isn't a marketing; it's really more structural, right? So here's what I'm seeing everywhere. I walk into most cabinets and sit in the boardrooms, and I ask what they're against. What are you folks against? And these are highly decorated people. Not diplomatically. What are you actually done tolerating? And what you hear, one of two things. Silence is kind of that first. It's the default. I know I'm going to get some silence because people want to talk about what they're for, but not what they're against, because that's too dangerous. But some teams actually move into an abstract list that could describe any institution, any state, any campus. Yeah. So, and here's the data that maybe should shake this up a little bit. We do panel research every year, nearly 1,000 teams. The highest performing institutions weren't the most collegial. That's the thing. If you're not getting along, but your results are pretty decent, step back. Maybe there's something. They were the most convicted. That's what we found. There was just a conviction, not necessarily this collegial connection, but there was a conviction, which I think was an important thing to just like, what's in between all of that? Most cabinets were operating at about 60% capacity. You think about count them up. Your cabinet. I'm going to go 1.1 mil annual cabinet investment. It's probably more than that. Throw the benefit package in. That's about a $450,000 gap sitting at the table. And that gap isn't a talent problem. It's a conviction problem. Probably wearing a strategic plan is what it is. I want to tell a story. What are we going to call her? Let's call her Renata. I love that word or that name, Renata. That's not a real name, but superintendent inherited a district that was led for 11 years by someone universally well regarded. Don't you hate to come into those positions? Like I like to come into the fumbling idiot that just had no clue and replace that person, but Renata didn't do that. Pretty well regarded, stable, decent outcomes. A cabinet that had probably mastered that professional consensus stuff that we get good at over decades. Nobody was really passionate. Nobody was difficult. The district just kind of was. Does that I don't know. Does that surprise you? Anybody coming to mind? I spent some time. I watched the cabinet for a couple of days. Individual talent everywhere, highly decorated leadership team, but I would say zero shared conviction. The real conversation happened probably more in parking lots. Yeah, and what the thing that really broke my heart was the fact that the system had trained them to perform just coordination, alignment, because the person who said what they were actually against got labeled difficult. Folks, I've been there. Is that you? That might be just kind of a moment. You ever been labeled difficult? Well, maybe that is the highest compliment you could have ever received, boss, because swimming in the sea of average, where people don't have the fill in the blank to step up and talk about what they're against, we've got enough of those leaders out there. I don't think we have enough of the right kind that maybe are getting labeled as difficult. While, all the people are around the table just nodding and in agreement, but doing their complaining out in the parking lot, they're the ones that get labeled as collegial, right? They're well behaved. Yeah. I think the system selects against exactly what you need. I'm not a big systems fan. I believe that healthy teams build amazing systems that are doing the work that are standard deviations beyond what most systems are doing. But most systems are the villains really to the mission that you're trying to fulfill. And that's just an honest assessment in working across both K-12 and higher ed. So here's the framework. I know you've been waiting for this. So I call it the conviction architecture. How about that? The conviction architecture, it's 3 dimensions. All of them are required. None of them are really optional. You need to play all 3. The first one is just this affirmation conviction. What you're actually building, not what you're open to building, not what you're accidental to build, or not what I guess everybody across our state is building this. Not what you're committed to exploring, what you're specifically, irreversibly building. And here's the test: take your strategic plan, and replace your institution's name with any other institution in the state, and have some fun with this. Who's your competitor? Who's the one pilfering your kids, your students? Yeah, put their name on your strategic plan. Now, does it still work? Page through it. Does it still work? If it does, you don't have conviction. I think you have a template, and everybody is just using everybody's template. Yeah. Hey, would you share that with me? Because I want to be the same, just like you. Isn't that kind of where we're at? I don't mean this to be really stepping on anybody's toe, but let's play this one. The second one, the oppositional conviction. Yeah, what you're actually done tolerating. Yeah, this is the one most campus leaders refuse to develop publicly because it's risky. It really is. But it's precisely this one that generates the loyalty. The status quo is not oppositional conviction. It's really a placeholder. Every institution claims to be against the status quo, while they are pretty careful to maintain it. Just saying. So name the specific element in your specific institution you are specifically done accepting. Do you have the fill in the blank to do that courageously? Think about the leaders in your network you'd follow anywhere. LinkedIn, Insta, whatever you do, whatever the kids are doing these days, right? My guess is every single one of them can tell you without diplomatic hedging what they're done tolerating in public, in front of people who actually disagree. Yeah. I think the people who feel seen become evangelists, and the evangelists bring more people who feel seen. Isn't that the thing? You got to stick your neck out and tell people what you are not just for, but we're done tolerating this. You want to create a following? You want to tick a bunch of people off? I mean, it's probably the implementation dip of all of this, right? But I've seen where those numbers start to compound, where you get the right people starting to choose you for the right reasons. Here's the third, the relational conviction, who you're specifically for. So most leaders have been trained to lead for everyone. Most boards are making decisions for everyone. Most superintendents come in, most college presidents come in, and they have their head on a swivel. Yeah, just to see everyone and to serve everyone. But I think that breadth is a bit corrosive. Are you building for the people ready to genuinely commit? That's my question. Or are you designing every initiative so at least maybe the least committed person in the room stays somewhat comfortable? Whew, coming on hot today. Let me ask that again. Are you building for the people ready to genuinely commit in your organization? Or are you just designing every initiative so that the least committed person or people or departments or divisions will still stay comfortable? You can't do both, right? That attempt produces the kind of just that universally tolerated, nobody evangelizes for fit for mediocrity that keeps institutions at, did I say 60%? That's where everybody's at in terms of just overall performance. You've got a lot of discretionary effort sitting on the table. So I think when you combine that affirmative conviction, the oppositional conviction, and that relational conviction, you don't just get addition. You get what every campus must have for the communities that they serve. You get multiplication. That's what when really a team stops performing alignment and starts actually building something. So I hope I'm hitting all the right buttons for you today, because when I was putting this together, I thought, whew, I'm atoning for some sins big time. I wish I would be able to hear myself today, 20 years ago. Yeah. Back to Renata 3 years later. It wasn't the strategic plan. It was a public statement about what her district was just done tolerating. Yeah, she had 2 cabinet members actually just left. She called them the first round of clarity costs, is what she called them. And that's not a retention problem, folks. If you get the right purpose and you get the wrong people that leave because of that right purpose, you don't have a retention problem. Okay. So who might be your first round of clarity costs? And she paid that cost without any drama. It just kind of snuck out the back door. But her enrollment grew for the first time in decades. Not from a marketing campaign, not from erecting a new billboard up in the community, from words of mouth across her entire region. She didn't build loyalty by being easy to like. I think just the opposite. She was so in love, honestly, with her mission that she had the courage to be disliked. And she built it by being impossible to mistake. And she had board members that weren't quite sure about her being that bold, but later told her that the results speak for themselves. So if you're in a results-based culture, this is certainly worth, I think, sticking your neck out for. If you don't build that conviction architecture, it guaranteed. Here's what will keep happening. You'll keep hosting just these excellent meetings where nothing changes, and you feed people wonderful food, and nothing changes. You'll keep losing your most passionate people, not to other institutions, but to exhaustion from carrying conviction alone in a system that rewards consensus. You know where those systems are. You know where those people are just hiding right now, because they're like, I long for the years. Yeah. Here's what really matters, and going to cut to the heart. When your cabinet isn't convicted, your students are going to feel it. And that's not a faculty problem. It's not a teacher problem. That's a conviction problem at the very, very tippy top. And boss, if you've been there 3 years or more, it's your issue. So you have a choice right now. Keep designing for the least committed person in the room. It's a choice. Or you can start building for people who are just ready to commit. Builders don't wait for everyone to be ready. They create conditions for conviction to spread. So the question isn't whether you can. The question is really whether you will. That is the question. So here's your move before your next cabinet meeting. 3 steps, 1 hour. Step 1, write the "we're done with" list. Do it alone, all alone. Shut the door. Finish the sentence 10 times. We are done tolerating blank. Don't edit for diplomacy purposes. The items that make you slightly nervous, pay attention to those. Circle them. I think that nervousness is just a signal. Listen to it. Step 2, just run that substitution test on your strategic plan. You find one sentence that could only be true for your institution. If you can't find that one, write one. I think that's your starting point. Don't go out and find sticky dots and invite your entire community to come in. Take hold of that thing, folks. And step 3, just say one true thing in your next cabinet meeting without the diplomatic hedging. I want to name something. we've been tolerating that I am no longer willing to tolerate, then name it. Keep your keys on the keep your keys on the table. Have that amount of resolve to this is who I am and this is what I believe. And whatever happens next, agreement, pushback, silence, it's probably more valuable than any other meeting where everyone just nods and nothing changes and it's Thursday. Yep. So if you want to build this systematically with your full team, it's not a pitch. It's the Team Institute. This is where we get your team together and we talk very, very straight up, just like this. We got 8 sessions. They're all sequentially built upon the competencies of building an irresistible culture that really keep your best people and recruit more of the same. We're seeing 3x improvement. We're seeing 29% higher engagement. We're seeing 27% better outcomes. You can go to higherperformancegroup.com and click Get Started to find the Team Institute. Option 2 is let's grab a virtual coffee. And there's water in here now because it's too late for coffee. But I do these things every day, and I guaranteed the best meeting of my everyday. Smart, humble, hungry leaders that are working through these exact challenges. You can message me directly. You know where to find me. No pitch, just a strategic conversation about maybe what you're building and how some of that can be accelerated in the right way. Next week, we'll talk about maybe same 10 people problem. Yeah. STPs. I learned that from a campus just the other day. I'm like, what STP? What is that? Okay. Then I went deep. I'm like, whoo, yeah, that's a really big deal. So keep your dukes up. Know that you are loved. If nobody has told you that, I'm the guy bold enough to say that. Your work is essential. We've got enough leaders doing the work, but we don't have enough of the right kind. So if I can be of any support, if I can give you a pep talk, go ahead. I can be your punching bag, whatever it is. Let's set up that virtual coffee. Let's have a chat. See how you're doing. Peace, friends. I'll see you next week.